folks. Dr. Freedom here with you. Time some Doctor News from in and around the universe that may or may not affect you on some deep, weird, emotional level that could only be so, I don't know, enlightening. Entering you into the ways of the mystic realm that is actual, factual news. I know you're not used to this. Good tea, bad tea. Oh, well, that's a whole nother thing. All right. Okay, so enough of that. Yeah, Death Moon 12, the script is done. I just have to proofread it, do a little polishing here and there, and then I'll probably have it sent out to the guys by the end of this week. Then hopefully we'll have the concluding chapter to that particular series up. I wanted to have it done sooner, but, fate intervenes. You got real life. And, there's a lot of other things to do, like work and then yard work. And plus I was out enjoying vacation. And but it's done. It's over. And now it's time to get it recorded and printed and put to bed. Oh, my God, Mommy. The fat man blew his nose on camera. Oh, sorry. I was just out mowing the yard, so now my allergies are going to go bananas. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's get down on it. Get down on it. Get down. Oh, here we go. Let's start off with the going. Doctor Who's Peter Capaldi hints at a very beautiful regeneration in his final episode. Okay, speaking to Digital Spy, he confirmed that he shot his regeneration scene on his last day of filming, which would have been July 10th, and that is a date which will live in infamy in some people's minds. It was great. It was lovely because we spent the whole day doing it, and it's quite a big scene. So we didn't shortchange it. It's emotional because you're also saying goodbye to the people that you've been working with for nearly 4 years, and that's tough. Also, a lot of people came to visit. A lot of people decided that it was that was a great day to come and see what was happening, but I didn't mind that. It was lovely. Now, on the scene itself, he added, I felt Stephen Moffat had written something very beautiful and very right for my doctor, so I was just happy to try and do my best with it. And as we all know, Pearl Mackie is going to be back for the show. And, for the Christmas special, but she's not going to be back for Series 11, sadly. So there's a little bit more right here, but we're going to go on because we got a lot of stuff to go through. Moving on. Okay, 2017 Doctor Who Christmas special is a quote-unquote fanboy's dream. And this is over on Doctor Who TV. I'm not sure how they tell the difference. There's Doctor Who TV, and then there's Doctor Who.tv. Oy vey. Okay, Rachel Taylor has been chatting to Doctor Who Magazine about this year's finale, The Doctor Falls, and the forthcoming Christmas special. The magazine issue 514 is available from June 29th, so it's been out a couple days. All right. Quote, it took my breath away. It really, really took me by surprise. I didn't know that Stephen, was going to announce it when he did, and suddenly my Twitter was so full of so much incredible positivity, and I was overwhelmed because I don't take these things for granted. It's definitely quite something to be asked to direct 3 in a row and be part of this epic thing. And all right, the conclusion of this epic, of course, is the 2017 Christmas special, which will see Peter Capaldi bow out as the Time Lord, Rachel Taylor is also directing. See, I'm on a roll, ain't I? And she commented, quote, oh, it's so wonderful. I'm the biggest fan of it. It's a tour de force. It's a fanboy's dream. There's a certain absolute fanboyness to it, which will make you squee, but it's also a beautiful, joyous, heartbreaking script. Stephen is a genius, so I don't lose sight of how lucky I am, even when I'm like, how the hell are we going to get this done? So Rachel Taylor chewing in there on her little bit on doing the Christmas special. Now, interesting tidbit I found out. The key scene, for Jodie Whittaker stuff was shot out at Capaldi, and someone put it up earlier. I think it was Girly Letters, that the actual reveal scene was shot later at MOD Carewin. So they were not taking any chances. They filmed that all on private land on a military base. Daily Star. Ha 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 ha. Get ready for this headline. This will have you laughing. New Doctor Who Jodie Whittaker has been banned from making taut Time Lords. What? I'm sorry, but all they're basically saying is they're not going to have her get pregnant. So don't worry about that. A lot of people will go, what if Jodie gets pregnant during filming? They got 1,000,005 ways to get around that too. And that's, come on, people, it's the 21st century. There's a thing called birth control. Okay, now, Moffat said, I knew the Doctor would generate into a woman while writing the last series, so I thought I'll bring out all his manly qualities. but he has not got any. He hasn't a single masculine quality I can find. He's an alien that is, I don't like this thing, taken the form of a human male. He will not notice the change to a woman, and he is not about to get pregnant. Now, once again, that's not Moffat's call, but I don't think that even Chibnall will go down that road. And here's the other only interesting bit. Jodie has filmed the regeneration scene, and she was great. And Matt Lucas said that he offered Jodie some valuable advice. He said, wear a coat and keep some change on you because you have to buy your own lunch. So, for once, the star had something that was almost that much useful. Moving on, Jodie Whittaker. Okay, she was the first woman ever to take on the role of 13th Doctor, but this is going on a bit about a dramatic role that she's going to be taking on, and for some reason, I do not know why, but this thing's gone ape today. It goes a little bit into her past. Yeah, darn it. See, I don't know what's going on with this page. This normally doesn't load like this, so I'm assuming it's some kind of page error. But all right, here we go. Let's get to it. All right, Whittaker, whose own mom was a nurse, said at the time she would personally have found the challenge quite impossible. And of course, she goes, "I'm a crap secret keeper, so there'd be no way I could put myself in that position." And then we move on a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. All right. For some reason, like I said, the page loaded funny. Okay. And once again, she's talking about Kath Hardacre here, the role that she's going to be playing. But we get down to here, blah, 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 blah. And okay, we've already seen that bit. So it's mainly talking about that upcoming show she's doing, where she's playing the fake doctor and Trust Me. So, like I said, I'm going to have to check and see what's going on with this because it wasn't that bad earlier. So I don't know if it's some kind of code screw up or whatever. But I'll leave it up to you if you want to go pop in on this on the Daily Mail. Moving on, your verdict on Jodie Whittaker's casting. Remember, this was Doctor Who TV's poll. All right? And it came out, in their case, 52% in favor to 47% against. So they're making it look like it's 50-50. But remember, this is their poll. All right? Whoever took place in this out of only 30,000 votes cast. The thing is this, as I said before, I watched at least somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 reaction videos after this all hit the fan, watching, how people reacted to the reveal. And I only found 2 that could be construed as negative. And other than that, I don't know. That's it. I just don't know what the big deal is, but that's up to me. Oops, sorry, I forgot to close that. All right, that's my Twitter. David Bradley, there's a lot of conflict between the 2 doctors over casual chauvinism in the Doctor Who Christmas special. And, okay, boom, boom, boom. What we did emphasize about the first Doctor was the old-fashioned nature and how he is from the 60s, revealed David Bradley. He goes into the 12th Doctor's TARDIS and says, quote, it's a bit dusty around here. It's in an awful state, isn't it? Where's Polly? Shouldn't she give it a spring clean? And then Peter's saying, you can't say that. So they're going to play on the fact that his doctor came from a totally different time period back in the 60s, and a lot of people are going, hey, how would you know about that? He did live for a few months in the 60s before an unearthly child takes place. Susan had enrolled in school and all that. And unfortunately, maybe he comes from a time in Gallifrey when it was that way. But given the fact we're finding out Time Lords are more gender fluid and blah, 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 who knows? But that was his thing on it, telling us there's going to be a lot of conflict over casual chauvinism. All right, moving on. London Film Comic-Con. Rusty Goffe, Lalla Ward, and Mark Strickson talk times on Who. Nice little short bit where they're going on about their times, their little things with it. We've heard a bit about it from Mark Strickson, of course, and one of these days I'll have to put up a card pointing you to, heck, we've had Mark on a couple times. One time he was on video. One time I interviewed him. Then, we had the big Q&A on where he was on video with us. And like I said, a really kind guy. But like I said, a lot of people don't realize when he comes to do cons, that's 2 days of plane rides to get from New Zealand all the way to here, because he's like all the way on New Zealand, which is even past Australia. So that's like 17 hours ahead of me or something like that in that neighborhood. All right, moving on. McCoy and Bradley talk 13th Doctor and Tease the Christmas special for 2017. Sorry, my allergies are messing with me today, man. Feels like my nose wants to crawl off my head. All right. Okay, so David Bradley playing the role for, of course, the first Doctor. He also played William Hartnell in The Adventure in Space and Time. He dropped a huge teaser for the special that drew gasps for the audience attending. When asked if he had seen any footage, he said, "No, I've only seen the trailer like you. There's a big event towards the end. It happens." And, of course, he goes into that bit where they were almost blubbing. And he goes, and then the discussion shifted to memorizing technobabble. And McCoy stated he had a bit of help from a previous Doctor. He mentions, quote, "I sometimes had help from John Pertwee because he used to write his lines on the console in pencil. I would try to read his writing. It was still there." Yeah, honestly, they were still there, which is kind of weird because by the time he got in, there was a totally different console from even what Davison had. Well, Davison had it towards the end. So, okay. So they go a little bit onto that. So they talk a little bit about, the 13th Doctor and whatnot. And it's a fun read. Go take a look at it. And, of course, over here, over this past week, we had The Attic, which was a 10th anniversary celebration. There was a Sarah Jane Adventures reunion. Now, basically, a lot of the folks who were involved with the show got back together. Some of these faces, of course, going to look very familiar to y'all. So it was nice to see them all get together. Lots of guests, lots of people gathered to remember, Sarah Jane Adventures, and, of course, Liz Sladen, who's no longer with us. So I figure you folks are going to want to take a look at this as well. Sarah Jane Adventures was on its 5th year when Liz Sladen passed, and it was doing extremely well. Unlike other spinoffs I could mention where they thought it was a good idea just to tie the whole thing to a school. All right, so, okay, that's all I had for you for today, so I'm going to get on out of here. Also, before I start sneezing again. So, lots of things going on, lots of fan opinion. Like I said, I've noticed I've had a couple friends of mine who are hardcore against Jodie Whittaker who in the coming weeks have said, look, I'm at least going to sit down and give her a chance. And that's all you can do. Every new Doctor who has come in has faced opposition. But this time you've not only got opposition for the folks who love Peter Capaldi, but now you also got hardcore traditionalists. But then they're calling it backlash. Go look at the media. The media response has been phenomenal. And it's like, I don't call a bunch of people bitching in a forum a backlash. Now, if they'd started marching on Rothlock with torches, flintlocks, and dogs, that's what I'd be worried about. But okay, so until next time, everybody, take care. Ta-ta. I'm going to blind you in the head. Have a good one. See you on the flip side. Good night.